Courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. This quote is attributed to John Wayne, and sometimes I consider these words. And today I was considering these words and how they relate to Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. So here we have Jesus, fully human and fully divine, just like we are. Jesus is portrayed in the garden in a famous painting, looking upward to heaven like this. But as truth students, we know that Jesus, in fact, would have been looking inward, arguing perhaps with himself, looking for a way out of his impending suffering and physical death. Not once, but 3 times. 3 times. He prayed in Matthew 26:30, saying, "Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me." You know, another way of saying, like, isn't there another way? Could you just maybe please let me off the hook, even though I know I chose this path and to take, and ultimately it was my decision and I was committed, like really committed, but now I'm just super scared. I'm super freaked out about the whole pain and suffering. This feels like a really bad idea. And I don't want to do this. So maybe pick someone else. Maybe I'm not up for it. But then the verse goes on to tell us that Jesus, through this process, became resigned and realigned to his highest self and said, "Yet not what I want, but what you want." And we know you wasn't someone or something outside of himself. Even though I'm terrified, unsure of what it is like to die, I'm going to saddle up anyway. I wonder if Jesus knew, this is just me pondering for a moment, I wonder if he knew that the only way the truth he shared would survive and thrive and grant millions of humans, including us, the liberation and freedom by, as we discover our innate divineness, that he had to die. There had to be a dramatic ending. Not only did he die, but he overcame death. Well, that could be another 20-minute talk for another day. So when I consider my own agony in the garden of my soul, wrestling with the divine idea of becoming, say, a minister, I was arguing for a time with my seeming limitations. I am too old. I'm not polished or experienced. I'm not good enough. I might suck. And then, ad infinitum. I too had to return to a state of surrender. To thy will, not mine, be done. Because I made that decision. I made that decision to be a vessel. So I too had to return to a state of surrender, just like we all do. To thy will, not mine, be done. Jesus gave us a dramatic example of his wrestling with doubt and fear, and maybe even feeling like he wanted to quit, because sometimes we want to quit. So we have another divine example. Reverend Ellen Davenport, in the 2025 Unity Devotional for Lent in the Garden, writes, Jesus was carrying out his soul's purpose, but he didn't get to skip any of the human steps, and neither do we. Living a spiritual life does not exempt us from difficult experiences, including those that are painful or unfair. What if the very examination of anxiety and fear and doubt are necessary? A necessary part of the process we go through, as Jesus did in the garden, a way to recommitting and strengthening our will and purpose as we shed our ego identity and awaken to a new consciousness that rolls away that giant stone we were buried behind, so that we can walk in this beautiful earth, transcended in oneness, integrated with our wholeness, and reborn fully as God incarnate. FEAR, false evidence appearing real. Appearing's a key word there. Appearing means it looks like, it feels like, it sounds like, my experience says. But this isn't just a clever acronym, but an opportunity to acknowledge our imaginary limitations, providing us with the strength and the power, the will and the love to get on that horse, even if we're shaking in our boots, and continue our ride into the great unknown we have chosen. Thank you very much.